So Teslas are killing motorcycle riders by rear-ending them using their autopilot features, and I guess tech bros and Tesla simps are just okay with that? I came across this article that said that Tesla is being investigated by federal prosecutors for drivers utilizing their autopilot feature. Apparently there have been many crashes and deaths related to this autopilot feature. So from an article that I read, it said Jeffrey Nissen, 28, of Stanwood, was on his way from work on Highway 522 when the Tesla Model S struck his blue 2003 Yamaha R6. Nissen's fiancée, Janae Hutchinson, said Thursday. Washington State Patrol spokesperson Chris Loftus said the agency is still investigating whether the Tesla driver was using autopilot, a combination of cruise control and auto steer intended to maintain the car's set speed while keeping a safe distance from other vehicles in his driving lane. The crash was among a rising number of collisions in Washington involving cars equipped with technology, mostly Teslas. That was from the Seattle Times, and that is a really tragic death, a really needless death from an inattentive Tesla driver. A really cool point from the article, I saw that the driver was apprehended at the scene and was actually arrested and taken to jail, which I really think is the right thing to do. So who's at fault? Is the inattentive driver using the autopilot feature 100% to blame, or is Tesla for branding an autopilot feature that actually is a little bit of a misnomer to share some of the blame here? Let me know what you guys think in the comments as I delve into this issue in today's video. So Tesla's autopilot feature, it's been highly publicized because of its branding, and it's kind of a misnomer because all it really is adaptive cruise control and steering assist. It is not totally autonomous driving, and that's why Chevrolet and GM uses something called Super Cruise instead. You know, it's a small branding exercise, but it makes a big difference because people believe autopilot to be something that you just press a button and it automatically pilots the vehicle. Over-reliance on these systems is really dangerous. We already see way too many distracted drivers, especially as motorcyclists, because we actually have to engage 100% with our machines. We actually look over and see people just on their phones while they're driving, and putting something called autopilot in a car is just gonna make it worse. If you give people carte blanche to drive autonomously, they're just gonna take it. People are really swayed into a false sense of security with this tech, and there's been many studies that show that once people start trying this technology, they tend to push the envelope and start to over-rely on it. But on the flip side, the car driver really is the ultimate arbiter of safety, aren't they? They're the ones piloting the machine, they're the ones that should be responsible should anything happen. And of course, there are always acts of gods and crazy accidents, but typically there is somebody at fault in a car accident, and someone overly relying on an autonomous system is probably the person at fault. And although federal prosecutors are looking into Tesla around this issue, I don't really think you can just say that you're gonna sue the company because they called it autopilot and you should have no blame. You're the one driving the car, you definitely have blame if you cause an accident. Tesla drivers, in my experience, are some of the most inattentive, dim-witted drivers I've ever encountered. Worst of all are Cybertruck people, but we're not even gonna get into that in today's video. I live in Austin, Texas, so Cybertrucks are a dime a dozen, and I cannot stand the people that drive them. This is just my own personal thing, but I really don't have much respect for many Tesla drivers, and the stats kind of bear out. A quote here from the article from the Seattle Times says that of the 35 crashes in Washington involved autopilot-equipped cars reported by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration between September 1st, 2021 and March 15, 2024, all but 3 were Teslas. And my claims that Tesla drivers are inattentive and a bit dim-witted are actually backed up by stats. A recent study in LendingTree determined which car brand has the worst drivers, and results reveal that Tesla drivers have the highest accident rate amongst the 30 brands analyzed. Ram operators, meanwhile, were named the worst overall drivers, which kind of funny because I have a Ram 1500 that I drive as my main bike hauling pickup truck. And so, yeah, let me just go get a no fear tramp stamp and a DUI and go drive my Ram with my little racist sunglasses. LendingTree examined QuoteWizard insurance quote data for each brand from November 22 through November 23, looking at incidents such as DUI, speeding, accidents, and tickets. And it did say indeed that Ram drivers placed amongst the top 5 for 4 incident brackets. They acquired more speeding tickets than any other brand. Ram operators had the 2nd most accidents and DUIs, but the 5th most traffic tickets. And in 23 states, incidents for Ram drivers exceeded any other brand. But Tesla owners were found to be the 2nd worst drivers. They incurred 31.13 incidents for every 1,000 drivers and had the highest accident rate of any brand with 23.54 over the 12 months studied. So is that a case of Tesla drivers sort of self-selecting for people who have poor driving records or don't really know what they're doing? Or are they overly relying on these autonomous systems for their actual driving habits? I don't know. You guys chime in the comments down below. Riding motorcycles can often require a ton of energy. You've got long days in the saddle, intense track day riding, or even just commuting in this hot summer heat. To get fueled for any two-wheeled adventure, it's important to start your morning off right with a high-protein meal. And unfortunately, I just don't always have time to prepare a full English breakfast. That's why I was super excited when Magic Spoon reached out and wanted to sponsor the channel. Magic Spoon makes high-protein cereal with 0 sugar per serving. I am very busy these days running the channel and taking care of a new baby at home.
Where's Bobby keep the extra diapers?
So having a tasty high-protein meal that is as easy as Magic Spoon has always been awesome for my family. Seriously, my wife loves the fruity flavors. Magic Spoon tastes great too, being reminiscent of the nostalgic flavors of childhood while being made with high-quality ingredients and nothing artificial. Each serving of the Magic Spoon has 13 to 14 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and 4 to 5 grams of net carbs, so you can feel good about what you're eating. It is so easy to start your morning off right with high protein, 0 sugar from Magic Spoon, and I think if you're a busy motorcyclist like me, you'll agree. Use my code YAMMY or click the link in the description to try Magic Spoon cereal today and get $5 off. You can also find Magic Spoon in your nearest grocery store. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guaranteed online. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. So click the link in the description to go to magicspoon.com/yammy for $5 off. Thanks so much to Magic Spoon for the support. Now let's get back to the show. I think this issue annoys and upsets us as motorcyclists, obviously more because we're being killed needlessly, but also because it takes a lot of skill, training, and concentration to operate a motorcycle. It is the antidote to an autopilot system. In fact, it requires you to be fully engaged and committed with the machine to make it down the road. It's also frustrating because motorcycle riders are more fuel efficient with gas. Typically, motorcycles get way higher fuel efficiency than any other vehicle on the road. We offer way less wear and tear on our roads, leading to less environmental impacts and lower costs overall. And we alleviate traffic too. So riding a motorcycle, kind of a Chad thing to do. And if there's car people watching this from the mainstream of YouTube and not just my audience, I'm already getting ready to hear how motorcycle riders are a bunch of adults that lane split and ride 150 miles per hour everywhere. But that's really not the case. So what should we do about it? I really think autopilot needs to be regulated, at least the naming convention for it. You can't list a service in the car, some sort of software in the car, and call it autopilot and expect people to not use it in the way that autopilot would be called. When we say something is on autopilot, it means that it's fully autonomous. That's the way everybody interprets it, and Tesla calling it that definitely knew what they were doing. And it's just frustrating to see this move fast, break things attitude when it comes to traffic safety. I think that's perfectly fine if you're building some stupid social media network like Facebook, but when you're building large machinery that's gonna be operated by people and has real world consequences that could kill people, as we've seen, you cannot apply the same Silicon Valley startup grow fast and move fast and break things ideas. As a side note, I am terrified by the combination of these 7,000-pound electric vehicles like the Hummer EV and the Cybertruck that can also accelerate extremely quickly. That's a recipe for disaster, especially with a giant frontal area. We've seen pedestrian deaths growing up year over year, and I don't think that's a coincidence. And even more, Teslas, like many other cars, have no regulation on the infotainment system inside the car, no matter how distracting or poorly designed it may be. I'm starting to see normies getting clued in on this, people who aren't really big into cars or bikes or motorsports or anything like that. There was a video by Drew Gooden where he was bemoaning the lack of a Prindle and how cars are kind of getting weird and bad over time, and this is something that we enthusiasts have been seeing for years and years and years. It is not good to have a giant screen that you have to look at to operate instead of looking down the road. There should be physical buttons and an actual gear shift. Let's get an RIP for the Prindle. Come on, sad. So yeah, I think with Teslas, when you combine the giant screen that's gonna be distracting people, given that there's no regulation over infotainment systems, autopilot features, and let's be real, the kind of people that buy Teslas, yeah, it's no wonder that they have one of the highest accident rates. So what can you do as a motorcyclist when you're out there on the streets? Well, I show you guys in a lot of my traffic videos, you gotta flow through stuff. You can't stay behind cars and avoid Teslas at all costs, apparently. and Ram drivers too. If I'm ever out in my Ram and I see you on my motorcycle, I will definitely give you a wide berth. If I'm ever out there driving my Ram and I see you on your motorcycle, I will give you a wide space cushion. As a motorcycle rider, you are operating something that requires a lot more concentration. There are no autopilot features on bikes. And even though we're just starting to see trickle-down technology in terms of radar adaptive cruise control, linked braking systems, all kinds of really great safety features on bikes, they are far and away from becoming fully autonomous. So yeah, I don't really like what's happening with Teslas. I've never really liked the company very much. I think Elon Musk is a bit of a weirdo, and it's very sad to see these autopilot features killing motorcyclists because they are being improperly used by the drivers. The systems cannot see motorcycle riders correctly because they didn't plan for that as much in the systems, and I just think that people need to stop relying on these systems so much. And it's crazy to think we have giant iPads in cars, tiny little phones we're looking at, we're like using adaptive cruise control, thinking the thing's gonna drive for us, and ultimately people are getting hurt. Especially these vehicles are getting bigger, faster, heavier. This is all a recipe for disaster, and it's being borne out in the data with pedestrian deaths and road traffic safety. Guys, what do you think about Teslas and motorcycle riders colliding, having issues with autopilot, and causing crashes and deaths? Do you agree with my assessment on Tesla drivers? Do you drive a Tesla yourself? Are you trying your best to avoid these sorts of things? And hey, if you're a Ram driver like myself, we got to do a better job too, folks. Jesus Christ, out there, Ram drivers racking up DUIs and speeding tickets and all kinds of craziness. But stay safe out there on your bikes, folks. I love to see your conversation start in the comments down below. I appreciate you checking out today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Boys, our time is up here. It's a little sad, but this video is over. However, this MT-09 SP is up for grabs on yammynoob.co, and the coolest part is if you become a member, not only is it the best way to support the show, but you get access to chat with me on Discord. So if you want the conversation to keep going, become a member on yammynoob.co in the link in the description down below. But if you want a little bit of distance between me and you think I'm a weird guy, which is completely fair, hit the link right over here. Check out this next Yammy Noob video. You will not regret it. I guarantee it. I'm sure it's top tier stuff.